Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Stuff podcast, where we talk all things Star Wars. My name is Colin.
And my name is David.
Hello, and I'm Josh.
And we are here to talk about the Lucasfilm panel that just happened today. Happened a couple hours ago. It is... What time is it here? It is 10:58 p.m. in London right now. We are exhausted. We have a long day tomorrow. Very exciting stuff. But the whole panel was great. It was almost 2 hours long, which is crazy. We saw some footage for Ahsoka. We saw the new trailer for Ahsoka. We saw a new trailer for Andor, Skeleton Crew, Acolyte. And we saw some footage, the first 8 minutes of the new episode of The Mandalorian. But then they were like, guess what? You actually get to see the full thing at a screening, which was awesome. And then we also saw the new trailer and a whole fight scene for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. A lot of cool stuff and three announcements. For the future movies of Star Wars, which was very well known to us that we would be getting the three movies, but we didn't know what they were going to be. And the directors, fantastic choices. I still can't believe that all that happened in 2 hours. It's crazy, but overall, fantastic time. David, how was it for you?
Yeah, I really like to love the Lucasfilm panel. We did get the three movie announcements, like we kind of all talked about on the podcast. They weren't necessarily, I think, maybe the three people that were going to be involved. James Mangold was a total surprise. That was a little shocking that he showed up. Also, not shocking was the fact that Dave Filoni was picked to direct the movie, and the movie is the climactic event that we've known about now for years that Kathleen Kennedy talked about on the Investor Day call. So that makes a whole lot of sense. But then we also got Obey Chinoy's film, which will be the film that's going to be the closest in time to our own timeline. Because, of course, Star Wars is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But, yeah, we're going to get a sequel to the sequel trilogy, essentially. And I knew it all along. I knew when Daisy Ridley visited Lucasfilm, they were in talks, and she signed on. She is Rey. She is Rey Skywalker. She's going to appear again in Star Wars films, I believe. I believe it's going to be multiple films. I don't think they're going to stop at one. So we're gonna get something from the very, very beginning and something from the end of the Star Wars timeline that we know today. So. Very exciting, I think. Of course, me, Colin, and Josh were physically in a Star Wars Celebration room, and we got to see every single trailer that they aired. I'm not sure which trailers that they didn't show to the public, but a lot of footage. Exactly what I would do if I was president of Lucasfilm. Show the fans a lot of footage that spent the money to make it out to Celebration, and we got that. I really can't complain about that. And then we got what I consider to be bonus Indy 5 content with an actual full-blown scene, which was like 6 minutes long or so, and then we got the brand new trailer that I think everyone in the world got as well. So overall, really good. I know Josh asked me earlier on Instagram Live what my favorite thing about the panel, my takeaway from it, and I'm still debating on what it was. The Acolyte panel was cool, getting to see that footage finally, and getting to hear Leslie Headland speak, who is going to be the showrunner, the director, and basically the creator of Acolyte. And she got to talk about all of her life experience with Star Wars, which is really cool to hear. I don't think we've ever heard a Star Wars creator hired by Disney in the Disney era break down their Star Wars life, growing up with the original trilogy and then the prequels and then the animation and now creating Star Wars. It's going to be interesting. And I thought the Acolyte trailer went hard. It was fast, intense. I love the tone. The kids, and I'm thinking about Skeleton Crew now. The kids were awesome. That Skeleton Crew trailer, I really liked. It was very intriguing, and just the fact that we got the footage that we were all kind of craving to see, and they delivered. I think they totally delivered.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. For me, the Skeleton Crew was great because they definitely talked about how that show kind of got the inspiration from movies like The Goonies and E.T. and like that kind of vibe. And you definitely see that in the trailer. You saw the kids come out on stage, and you could just feel the energy. All of their dads are the ones that got them into Star Wars. So shout out to them. That was really funny. But overall, I'm very, very excited for that show, for Acolyte. Acolyte looks amazing. The trailer that we got for it, I can't believe that we got a full trailer for that. I thought we would get like a snippet, but a full trailer was fantastic, and it showed us a lot by not showing us a lot. And there's a lot of lightsabers. I can tell you that there's a lot of lightsabers, and that's just amazing. Sorry about the extra sound. We're right next to the street, in London, but yeah. So yeah, no. It was phenomenal. But yeah, Josh, you.
Honestly, from my point of view of what we actually saw on screen, loved Acolyte. That was great to see. I mean, it's definitely new stuff, and I think we've all been wanting new stuff from Star Wars. They nailed the High Republic, just into the High Republic era, or end of High Republic era. And it's funny actually seeing that on screen now after seeing it in comic books and hearing it talked about in books. So it's really cool to see that on screen. And I'm like, yeah, that's the High Republic feel. Also, everything they showed off for the Skeleton Crew was like a perfect Stranger Things kind of feel. Like I was genuinely surprised on, because we'd been talking about it for a long time, like how it's going to be super expensive and I want to see like what it's going to be like on screen, and I think they nailed it with that. Ahsoka trailer, I mean, everyone's seen that now, and that was pretty cool. I mean, everything in that trailer, I was like, wow, that's probably my least hyped one besides maybe Andor that I'm hyped for.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that we get someone with like an orange lightsaber.
I think they kind of glazed over Andor though, because of I just hope that doesn't fall into like the background of news, because I know there was a lot of news that dropped today, but overall it was that trailer was fantastic, and you can definitely tell the crew are Star Wars fans, and that's like the big thing for me. And you saw just the excitement on stage for almost all the cast, part of all the projects that actually came out. But for Andor, I'm hoping that we get more info on that soon. That's coming out in 2024, including Acolyte is coming out in 2024.
You can highlight that comment there.
Okay.
Yep. That is something that I was looking at during that trailer, and you have in the Ahsoka trailer, you have whoever this new master or whoever it is in the kind of the world between worlds, and Ahsoka's basically fighting or training with him, and then we get that second scene of him going through just like Darth Vader did, and it makes me think that these are like remnant people that are already in the scatters of the Outer Rim, and they're probably like in my opinion, it's like a gray Jedi feel. And I mean, that ties into Ahsoka so well for figuring out where she fits on that balance of the Force. So honestly, like I wouldn't doubt it if orange is their go-to for like a gray Jedi feel.
So for the gray Jedi thing, I remember Pablo did say that the gray Jedi no longer exist.
It's not. I don't think it'll be gray Jedi, but this is as close as I can say that it is gray Jedi.
Yeah,
because that's what I thought they were going to do with the sequel trilogy, is especially with the second film of the sequel trilogy, is being like, we need to destroy the past, and that meant destroying all of what the Jedi were and destroying what all the Sith were and becoming something new. And I wouldn't doubt that they would use Ahsoka to do that story instead, because she is basically that. She will never claim to be a Jedi again, I don't think, unless they try and bring her back for a Jedi or as a Jedi in this new series.
Yeah, I also thought from the trailer, of what we saw, in the from the footage, is that Sabine has long hair, right? So I think that kind of confirms my theory.
She's old.
Time. You're right. So I think that compares my theory of that the beginning will be the epilogue, and then halfway through it will go into the Mandalorian timeline, because then later she has that short hair. So that's my guess with it. I'm really intrigued of what they're going to show at the Ahsoka panel, though, because at the Ahsoka panel. At the Ahsoka panel, they are going to be, for an hour or so, and we've already seen the trailer, so we'll probably see an extended trailer most likely. But other than that, I don't know what they're going to show, because they just showed us an extended kind of look at Mando season 3 when we went last year to Anaheim, and that was it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
No, of any of the news, was there any news that wasn't dropped that people thought was going to drop? I personally thought they were going to reveal something about the Taika project. It wasn't.
Yeah.
This is the Lucasfilm project. We still have time in the con, because I feel like we have all these panels that people actually had to win stuff for to get there. And I'm interested to see what those are actually going to entail and how deep into detail they're actually going to get from anyone who actually gets in there to go and see it or not.
So, yeah, no, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what we end up getting. But yeah, David.
Yeah, in regards to Ahsoka, tomorrow is the big Ahsoka panel, of course, at 11 a.m. We here at the podcast in London are going to try and get in the standby line, because, of course, we didn't win the lottery for it. We won the lottery for Twin Suns today for the celebration stage, and we attended that. And we got the free poster. We got the cool wristband here.
Yeah.
You can see it says Twin Suns guest. But what are they going to give the people for the Ahsoka panel that they kind of didn't give us already? Unless maybe they do a Thrawn reveal, possibly. Maybe they give away that poster that they revealed today.
Yeah, that I'm thinking the poster. I could see them showing Thrawn on screen. I could see the actor revealed there. That would be huge for the show. It's definitely feeling like that. It's kind of them going the route of the Avengers, right? So you've got all these shows coming out. You have Thrawn, which is like the Thanos of the show. And then they're just leading up to this big Avengers event, because also announced was that Dave Filoni is going to be directing this giant the giant crossover event that they were talking about, but it's going to be a movie. Now, with that being said, we kind of have a long way to go. We didn't get any release dates for any of these movies. But what that says about the show is that we're probably going to get a season 5, which is what their kind of vision was for the Mandalorian. So that's good for Mando. Ahsoka, Rosario Dawson was kind of pushing for season 2 at the panel today, and you could kind of see the cringe on Dave Filoni's face. He's like, stop talking. But yeah, so that was kind of funny. But I think that we're in for a treat. I think we're in for a long ride for the panel, the Ahsoka panel. My guess is just extra footage that we didn't get to see at the.
Definitely they'll probably show off Ezra.
Yeah.
At the Ahsoka panel, I believe that they would just show off Ezra's full-on character. They might even bring him out as here's that character you guys have all been wanting to see for a long time.
Yeah.
So did they show it last year? Not him coming out on stage, but they had the photo of who was playing him. Right?
No.
Okay.
They only showed us.
Where did they reveal that at? Because I remember it being a big reveal for people. So
they did not show that at any con. The only thing that they we found
May the 4th.
I don't think it was May the 4th. I forget where they announced it. It just dropped online one day, I think. I don't think it was a special event. Yeah. But yeah, no. That I'm telling you right now, though, that the whole show is going to be huge. and I don't think people are going to be able to wrap their heads around it because most of these characters coming in Ahsoka are from Dave Filoni. He created these characters. You got Hera, you got Chopper, you got Zeb, you got Sabine, you have Ahsoka, probably Captain Rex, and it's just like it's somewhere in there, and it's gonna be crazy. And if we end up seeing anything with Kanan, for the love of God, if we end up seeing anything with with Freddie Prinze Jr. as live action Kanan, I'm gonna lose it because that would just be so cool. But yeah, there is going to be a lot to break down. A lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to recognize everyone here in the chat, primarily on YouTube here.
I was wondering, like, if because people were saying that this isn't like a normal, like, especially you were saying that it wasn't normal to see like this many people for the con. I mean, this much of a show at the con, but I don't know if it's just because we're going to have a hiatus from Celebration for so long.
You were talking about how long the panel was.
Yes.
Yeah.
How long the entire panel was and how much they showed off. I'm kind of sitting there going, like, how much more do you actually have to show off? Especially like with all the other things that you guys have to show, hypothetically. If it is a lot, I guess this is like everyone just throwing their cards in and going, well, we're not going to see you for 2 years.
Yeah. So with that being said, you're absolutely right. I was blown away that the whole convention, like of just how small it like how kind of small everything was. Even walking the show floor, I was like, really, that was it? But again, it's a smaller convention center, which was totally fine, but it just threw a lot of people off. But for the panel, Josh is totally right. It's normally not 2 hours, and that panel was 2 hours. And I think it's because we're going into the off season next year where we're not getting any big projects. It's not going to be like a big year for Star Wars except for 2 shows. And they didn't even announce any Star Wars games or anything yet.
Nothing was about games at all.
Yeah, I'm thinking that like a Star Wars game like teaser or trailer will be, at least mentioned at this.
I was kind of wondering why they didn't do any of that, like any kind of game-wise options or anything. Because I feel like we have so much cooking right now for games. We got the Ubisoft game, but I feel like that's only dropping, or a trailer or anything is going to drop after they finish their whole Avatar thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but
and that other one is like 9 years out or whatever they said.
Mm-hmm. All right, David, go ahead. David.
Yeah, say that again. You kind of broke up.
I said, go ahead. You were trying to.
Oh yeah, in regards to the panel being long, I think it was just simply long just because they ran over time. Really, I mean, I don't think it was because there's not going to be a celebration next year. I think it was just time management there. But it didn't feel like anyone really spoke too much. So I don't know. It is kind of interesting that they did run a little longer. But I was totally satisfied. I think they want to hear about our day at Celebration, like our experience. I think going into the big queue, Colin woke up before I think everyone got there first, and then communicated that every single queue for every stage was in one big line. So that was a first, but I think it ended up being that just no one from Reed Pop that was hired by them knew what they were really telling us. So the wires got crossed and we lined up in a line we probably shouldn't have been in. We maybe could have gotten in the celebration stage if we would have just gone on standby, or if Colin would have gone on standby, he might have gotten in. But yeah, it's total confusion over there, especially on the first day. And did you see any Reed Pop signage anywhere, Colin? Because I didn't. Kind of interesting, huh?
Yeah, no. It was very unorganized. It's probably the most organized I've ever seen it.
Yeah, depending on what, because we didn't stay together the whole time. Maybe you had more experiences than I did, but It felt on par almost for me, for my experience. But yeah, it's a smaller convention hall. I was surprised the XL Center is like, it seems like one large like hallway strip in the middle, and then everything's like to the left and right. It felt like a really big rectangle, and it felt like none of the maps really kind of were accurate on the app. It seemed like they were kind of accurate. The key really for the map is to look at the letter and the numbering for where you want to go. And I wanted to check out some podcast panels, and one of the guys gave me a really great direction. He said, go all the way to the end of the building. So walk down the long corridor. And if you're outside, you've gone too far, essentially. So once you get to the very end of the building, just go upstairs, like 2 floors. And then that's where you have all the rooms for the smaller stuff, like the podcast panels, the droid building, some of the activities there. So yeah, that was interesting. The Celebration live stage was packed. I think that's due to people now knowing the scheduled appointments for certain people to show up on stage. I think we all got to kind of see a little bit of the Mandalorian cast. It was Carl Weathers, Emily Swallow, and Giancarlo Esposito. And Giancarlo Esposito was the same Giancarlo that we get all the time. And I mean, that guy has so much energy, and he's pretty inspirational too. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff I didn't get to check out either. So there's still a lot of stuff to do. I still haven't gone to the Celebration store. We have a Lightspeed reservation on Sunday, but yeah, waking up early, getting in line, it was just mass confusion. The funny thing though, if you've been to Celebration in the States, they have these really, really like thin 1-inch pipe dividers that if you knock one over, everyone claps. But over here in England, they have these hardcore steel like girders separating everyone. So when I try to get in line with Colin, I couldn't even cross because I mean they're high and they're sturdy. They're like really well put together, as opposed to the States. So I thought that was kind of funny. That's kind of a Celebration Insight thing. But yeah, overall, I mean, it felt like it wasn't that crowded, but there's a lot of people on the show floor, a lot of people. And it seemed like a lot of the booths had lines like wrapped around. And I want to purchase pins from the different vendors, but the lines were just crazy long. And we were just trying to figure out what we wanted to do next. And we ended up kind of separating, then coming back together. So tomorrow we're going to have our photo ops with Ewan and Hayden and also Andy Serkis. So I know Colin's really pumped about that. We're going to wear our Star Wars Stuff Podcast Andor styled shirts. So it should be a day to remember, seeing those 3 guys up close. So yeah, I don't know. Go ahead, Colin.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying I'm so excited for tomorrow. We're all really tired right now, but I guarantee like just the hype is just going to keep us going throughout the entire weekend. Yeah, definitely. I wanted to go back to one of these comments here. I'm not sure. I don't think we addressed it at all. So Liam, one of our awesome patrons, he asked the question, did they say if Ridley's movie is going to be episode 10? No, I don't think they mentioned anything about being part of the Skywalker saga, even though it is a Skywalker involved. It almost feels like it might be a misstep not making it episode 10, but we don't know if they might change that in the future. I don't know what the general reaction to it not being labeled episode 10. But it was kind of a shock just seeing Daisy Ridley on stage. And to me, it really feels like the de facto continuation after 9 going to 10. So having a new Jedi Order, I think is something that I kind of think we all expected in a way. So it's just one of those things, like an Old Republic film that's, I believe, still in talks, still in the works. We haven't got an official announcement yet.
but having that timeline on screen was pretty cool to see. And then they filled it in a lot like what we talked about on the podcast with Kevin Feige coming in and putting up a timeline for everyone to see. Unfortunately, we were in the Twin Sun stage, so we didn't get to see the big board behind Kathleen Kennedy when she was talking about it, or the speakers. So we heard the crowd's reaction when we were like, oh my God, what are they reacting to? And then they would cut away, and then we'd have to kind of piece it all together. So, yeah. So any more questions anyone has, ask them now, and we can answer them right quick before we go. Bad Batch panel 2, right? Hey, Maka, how's it going, man? Yeah, the Bad Batch panel will be on Sunday, so we got a little bit of time before that, I believe. But yeah, we're probably going to try and get into that too, and we're all assuming there's going to be a Bad Batch season 3 announcement. Mecca says, did you guys see new rule with you and photo op? No, I didn't see the new rule. Enlighten us, Maka. What's the rule? We've been kind of detached from the world we're usually connected to. Do you know about this, Colin?
No.
Okay, yeah, let us know, Maka, because we're gonna see Ewan tomorrow. So definitely let us know. But yeah, like I said, we're in London right now. We're totally we don't have proper cell phone service. I know our connection is probably kind of shoddy right now. But tomorrow we're going to... I'm bringing up the comment here. Is original Jedi movie supposed to be a human Jedi or possibly a creature or alien species that is actually the original Jedi? That's a good question. So Mac says for his over COVID restrictions and his current filming, there will be an R2-D2 in between y'all and him. He will also have a lightsaber. Interesting. All right, yeah, post to the Facebook group. Back to Tim's question. Jedi movie is supposed to be a human Jedi, or could it possibly be a creature? Which Jedi movie? The New Jedi Order? I'm not sure about that. Late to the party drops a comment here. Since they dropped the Ahsoka trailer today, what do you think will drop tomorrow? We would have bet money that we would have saved the Ahsoka trailer until her panel. Yeah, we were just talking about that at the very beginning. What can they drop? An extended version of the trailer? Maybe give the audience posters? They gave us a Mandalorian poster today, and the poster process, obtaining those posters, was super easy and convenient as opposed to Anaheim 2022, when we had to walk clear across the convention center and queue up, and it took like an hour or two to get those posters. But here in England, it's pretty quick, fast. They were ready for us, so that was awesome. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna talk about. Dave Filoni's so close to the vest with Ahsoka info that that's the big question, and we're very curious about that. So yeah, it's just guesses right now. Yeah, and I think this is a comment from Maka, Daisy Ridley. That is all, or maybe that was someone else. Yeah, we talked about this on the podcast. She showed up to Lucasfilm. She flew all the way from England, which was a further flight than mine from Texas, to go just have lunch with Lucasfilm. Of course, that had to be some type of like film meeting or project meeting or something, and it worked out. And I think we all kind of assumed that Daisy Ridley was going to be involved with Star Wars in some capacity in the future, maybe being a little bit older. But Daisy Ridley, if you look at her career, she's done a few things, but she hasn't really kind of landed, I think, with audiences outside of Star Wars. And Rey is such a huge figure now, especially with the female fans. That's a huge contingent for her. And I like the character too. She's pretty cool. She continues the Skywalker legacy. So hopefully, not necessarily keep the bloodline alive, but she keeps the name alive, I think, and maybe she has offspring too. Maybe I wouldn't want to say the Star Wars story original trilogy repeats itself, but it would be interesting to see. Okay, so if she was with another Force user, potentially that offspring could be a whole lot stronger than what we saw in the original trilogy. Maka says temp scan before photo 2. I just posted it and tagged you. All right. The movie that James Mangold is supposedly directing is the one. Okay. Yeah, the original. And Josh actually brought up a point that they might not be talking about that yin yang symbol type Jedi reference in The Last Jedi. So we're kind of hazy, I think, on that. So it's actually Ray on Facebook. That's me, Ray. I'm on the phone, so it's connected to StreamYard. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Ray loves Ray. What can you say? What's another rhyming word? I don't know. But yeah. She's super excited. I'm excited for that.
I know. Yeah, I know. She is so excited. I apologize for the connection, by the way. We're here in London and we don't got the best service, but we're trying to do our best.
Yeah, no one's really brought it up in chat. I know the connection's kind of hard for me to pick up on my side, but if anyone in chat can kind of comment on our connections, who sounds better on this podcast, I figured people would have said something. But yeah, we're in our hotel rooms right now in London, so yeah, we're kind of just reporting. Yeah, Colin's pointing to something. So I might not be getting all the comments. I think my connection might be a little bit stronger in my hotel. We're in different hotels actually, and I'm on their Wi-Fi. Yeah, Liam says connection's not too bad, to be honest. Yeah. So what else? What other questions did people have for day one of celebration? We checked out the celebration live stage. Yeah, Maka says our Wi-Fi has been pretty good. Late to the party says doing a stream from a hotel is always rough, but honestly, your connection is great as far as being. Yeah, awesome. Sounds great. For me, Colin is like ultra chopping. It's hard to figure out what he's saying because every other word is like digitized. But yeah, we're in London, England right now, guys. It's kind of a trip. We attempted the all podcast from Colin's room, but that didn't work out. So I'm back at my hotel. But yeah, late to the party asked, what was the food like? What did y'all eat? So I got to, so the big thing, of course, is fish and chips. You hear that all the time in the States. So I got to try a place called Poppy's, and it was decent. It was good. They threw on salt and vinegar on it, and I think I had it kind of the classic way, and it was decent. It was a nice place. The interesting thing, though, is the soda. I'm not like a big beer alcohol person, so I wanted to have a soda with it, and I asked for a Sprite. And they actually gave me what I figured out later on to be an American can of Sprite. And the Sprite tasted fantastic with my fish and chips. But then I ordered another Sprite at a different place, and they gave me this. I don't know if you can see it. So if you notice the bottle, it's kind of smoky. But if you look at, let me see if the label's on here. There was a label on my other Sprite. So Josh pointed out that when you're not in America, all the sodas don't have high fructose corn syrup, so it tastes different. It almost tastes like diet to me in a way. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. And we did my last meal that I had, we ate at a steakhouse actually, and that was decent. The sides weren't all that great, and of course, it is a little different from American steakhouses in regards to some of the options and the way the food is presented. Other than the steak was kind of the same. It was like kind of on par. But yeah, have you had any London food, Colin? Yeah, I totally forgot about to mention that, Maka. Baked beans and toast. So the hotel I'm staying at, we get baked beans for breakfast. Which being an American, it seems a little off because beans are usually reserved for like lunch or dinner, but it worked well with the breakfast I got here, and it's a full like breakfast buffet at my hotel, and they serve it at 6:30 in the morning. And it was pretty tasty, man. I mean, it was like scrambled eggs, scrambled eggs, baked beans, sausage, some croissants, and some orange juice. That's what I had for breakfast, and it was really tasty. It was pretty good. I think English breakfast is kind of popular. As far as like pop culture wise, it's talked about a lot in the States, and it was pretty good. I haven't really minded the food. So yeah, Colin just sent me a message that his laptop died. So yeah, I guess it's just me. So if anyone has more questions here, I see a lot of them rolling up here in the chat. Yeah, Liam says, "Damn, that's a good breakfast." Yeah, it was pretty good. I was really happy with it, and I was thinking, man, this might be my only meal of the day, but we got to eat a little bit more during the day, and the day went by pretty fast, guys. I mean, this is my 5th celebration, and it's going by quick, man. I guess maybe it's part of like getting older as well. Time goes by ultra fast. Late to the party says, have you crossed paths with any other content? So I've seen other content creators, but we haven't spoken per se. I know there's another girl. There's a girl from here that does reactions. She does reactions to all kinds of stuff like Walking Dead and other stuff too. And I think she was actually on like the mega mix of reactions to Luke Skywalker appearing in season 2 of The Mandalorian with you guys late to the party. I just can't pinpoint her name, but I saw her walking around, and she's such a tiny person. I was like, wow. I didn't recognize her at first, but I looked at her face, and I was like, I know that face. There was also a couple people I think I saw like walking swiftly past me, but I haven't really ran into anyone that any other content creators that I've really seen out there. I think this is kind of a low-key celebration for people coming across the ocean and going to, as opposed to something like in Anaheim where everyone was there. It seemed like I ran into everyone. I did see him, if you know Matt Denton, he's one of the guys that kind of designed BB-8. I saw him walking around. I took a picture with him in Chicago. I didn't bother him this time though, but I saw him walking around, and we saw DJ Elliott walking around, who did our original music to start our podcast. He was walking around. He had like a little crew with him, and of course, he's the DJ at the celebration stage. Maka says, I can't wait to find out where Celebration 2025 is. Orlando, question marks. We're thinking it's going to be Orlando. That would be the logical choice. But if they kind of keep in line with all the surprises we got in regards to like the films, really nice if it was close to me, and maybe I could stay at my house for a change. I know last year James got to stay at his house in Anaheim. I think it's my turn now. I think I've spent enough money flying around places, so it's probably going to be Orlando. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like Orlando at bust, it feels like. So unless the convention center's totally booked out or something, it's going to be Orlando. So. Late to the party says, sounds like you saw. Okay, yeah, that name does sound familiar. Yeah, so I saw her walking. So it was kind of odd to see her. So it was late at night, and she was walking by herself out of the main hall, and I was like, man, I mean, just a little petite lady walking at night. I was like, she's not with anyone, and of course it's a major city, and walking alone at night, I wouldn't even want to do that. And I'm like a 6 foot tall, 300-pound dude. So, it's something I wouldn't want to do. But she's from around here. I don't know. Maybe she's really tough. So yeah, late to the party asked, how's the reception for the Indiana Jones portion of the panel? The trailer music didn't really do it for us. Yeah, the trailer music was like an interesting choice. I guess I got to mix it up though. I mean, you can't have the same stuff over and over again. And I think that's why they made that choice. It's hard to gauge reception at Celebration because they hype you up, they pump you up. Everyone's excited to get into the room because of the whole lottery situation. And beforehand in the Twin Suns, they were hyping us up with offering us free merch for the most enthusiastic fan, for people that would follow and message the DJ and the MC, what their name is, where they're from, how many celebrations they've been to. Of course, I said David, South Texas, 5 celebrations, and they never got to me because I think my connection was not great in that hall. So yeah, everyone clapped. I mean, everyone cheered. Colin's a really big Indiana Jones fan. He actually wore his Indy hat. I took a picture. If you go on the Facebook group, you can actually see me and him in line for celebration. No, Macca John Williams didn't perform live here. I think his days flying over seas are pretty much over. Him showing up in Orlando was such a shock because we were kind of in the mindset that he would never fly anywhere anymore. But yeah, he showed up then in 2017 and he showed up in Anaheim, but he lives in that area. So it's a little bit different situation. I was surprised that Pedro Pascal didn't show up. He was in the London area the past few days. So it was kind of odd. And of course, Harrison Ford made a video for us. And like I predicted, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I think I'm saying her name right, L3 from Solo, she walked across that stage. We found out officially that was Indy's goddaughter, and Mads Mikkelsen was there. That was pretty cool seeing him. He's signing autographs. He's doing photo ops, I believe. I might get one with him. I haven't purchased it yet, but I'm really thinking about it because I'm not sure if Mads will come to the States that often. And of course, there's no celebration next year unless I want to go to some other random con. Late to the party asked, well, what time are you getting to Celebration Center tomorrow? I think what the game plan is, Colin is try and get there by 7. We now know where the standby line is for the celebration stage. So the Ahsoka panel is going to happen tomorrow. The panel that we're kind of puzzled by what they're going to show us. But of course, it's Ahsoka. The footage they showed us did look really cool. Maybe some reveals. Maybe we get the announcement. I know someone in the chat earlier said an Ezra casting reveal, a Thrawn casting reveal. That'd be great. But yeah, I'm going to eat the breakfast here at the hotel first because we essentially paid for it. So once I do that, I'll get ready and I'll go. The driving is wild in London. I can't get over how the driving is. Of course, we're driving on the left-hand side of the road, which is opposite from America. I'm not driving, luckily. I'm not sure if I can do it safely. My brain constantly thinks right side of the road when everyone's left side, and kind of freaks me out a little bit driving on the left side of the road. But I plan on getting there. I can, and hopefully place in line. And I'm not sure if everyone else in line will be as okay me sliding into the line with Colin because it is a standby line. It's like a first come first serve type of situation. So I might make the Brits mad there. And most of the people here, of course, I mean, are British and they have the British accent. But you kind of get the surprising American accent, and it's like, oh, okay, you're from America, you're from the States. I know in the Twin Suns celebration, I keep on saying celebration, the Twin Suns Lucasfilm showcase panel, they pulled up 5 people for a dance off, and nobody knew it was a dance off in the beginning. And they pulled up people that you wouldn't necessarily think dance, and that was the case because you could read all their lips. Like, I don't dance, but they all danced, and it was all good. But there was one person, I think, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is a state that borders my state in Texas. So, yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, Liam says, I'm trying to bring up his comment here. Samuel L. Jackson was up in Glasgow last week, so I had some hopes he would be there. Yeah, Colin said something in regards to Samuel L. Jackson was recording a project, doing a project in Glasgow. That's why people saw him, not Star Wars related. Well, actually, you know what, Liam? The Brits that were up there, because they talked to him as well on the mic, they didn't have any issues with dancing. It was like straight up, like they walked up with like confidence and just like got down as much as they could. There was one Brit, I believe, a female with a lightsaber, and she started doing her lightsaber moves, and they were pretty smooth. They were pretty solid. She did a move where she threw it up in the air and then caught it in sync and still was twirling it. She was actually pretty good. And there was also a Bo-Katan. Her jetpack fell off, and the contestants was actually trying to help fix it. And I don't think the MC realized it and was trying to like get through all the introductions of everyone to just kind of get it over with before the panel started. Macca says, "Don't go back with an accent now." You know, it's hard to not imitate the accent sometimes because, of course, we know from like pop culture there are certain words, and it's like I don't want to offend anyone. We're kind of out there like thinking like. So for me, I know this might come across as funny, and I'd ask anyone here, but is it okay to say yes, sir, in England? I know we say it like in America, but of course the sir is a knight over here, and it's like, I mean, is it appropriate to say? I think it came out once or twice, but no one reacted to it. But I mean, they figure because my deep American accent kind of gives it away that I don't know what I'm talking about. So. Late to the Party says, you guys are doing the Lord's work. Careful with those roads. Got to head out, but we'll be checking in with y'all again tomorrow. Stay safe and have fun. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Y'all are awesome. I like I've said before in the past, I love Robert and Vanessa's reactions and stuff. I kind of look forward to it when there's like a big thing coming out, even if it's not Star Wars related. I go to Late to the Party all the time. They show up in my feed, and I always check them out. And I think you guys should too. We don't do reactions. Me personally, I don't really react in an entertaining way, I think, enough. So that's just me, because we did a reaction to the Rise of Skywalker trailer, and when I watched it, I wasn't really making like faces or commenting because I was just like super like laser focused on what I was watching, and I'm a reactor internally more so than externally. But Robert, like I said, Robert and Vanessa do a great job, and I'm glad they kind of keep tabs with us. So, and of course, Robert sometimes will guest host, and he's great at that too. Liam says, "Yeah, but don't you need to?" As far as what? Yeah, Brits don't like you skipping in line. I think that's what he's referring to. Not necessarily. I mean, if you get there in time, and if you have like a buddy already there. So the long, massive line this morning, I was able to traverse most of the people that were there to get to Colin in the dead center middle, and no one seemed like they had an issue. I mean, maybe they thought, oh, this guy had to go to the restroom or something, came back, but no, I was walking in to the convention early this morning. Macca says, when I was living in Maui, it was hard to not pick up on the pidgin language. Yeah. I don't think I would if I moved over here. I think I just speak with my American accent. Yeah, Late to the Party says appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. You guys do a ton of work. I can very much tell that you guys put in so much work in loading up stuff on YouTube. And that takes a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of energy, and you guys are one of the bigger channels online. So yeah, like I said before, everyone that follows us follow Late to the Party. They're awesome reactors. It's a great buddy reaction that they do, and I watch them all the time. They're one of my go-tos. So yeah, those are all the questions in here right now. Colin just sent me a message. He said the laptop they're using just died. Colin's trying to join on his phone though. But yeah, being here in London, I don't think there's that much of a culture shock per se. But it's London to me. Like I've been to a few cities. I've been to a few major cities. I mean, I live in Texas, so I've been in Austin, I've been in Dallas, I've been in Houston, I've been in LA, I've been in Anaheim, I've been in Orlando, I've been in Chicago. And I've been in parts of Mexico, so I have left the country before as a kid. But I think if you meld all those cities together, you get London in a way, because you can almost feel the fact that this is like an old world type of a major metropolitan area in a way. There's a lot of pedestrians. We were in the Soho area yesterday, and it was really cool. I mean, it was almost like you were in some type of movie, because all the Brits that walk around, they talk loud, and of course we were in a Tesla, so there's no engine noise, so we could hear everyone's like conversation. And it seems like the Brits don't care if you're listening to them or not. Everyone's just talking and having a conversation on their earbuds or talking to the next person, and you can kind of listen in. Not that I was really trying to, but I mean, it's very interesting to see and hear and experience that. And that Soho area felt a lot like Austin's 6th Street, if you know what I'm talking about. Not as alcoholic, but a lot of people moving around, a very big pedestrian metropolis, it seems like. And of course, there's tons of tourists. The drawback, I think, to London is the fact that you really can't find parking anywhere almost. If you want to go somewhere, especially in the Soho area, you got to park far away and then kind of get back and navigate your way back to whatever you saw that maybe popped up that piqued our interest to go eat at or shop at. So yeah, that's been kind of tough. The signage too is a little tough. Parking at Celebration was a nightmare. I had to get off and ask one of the attendants, where is the parking place? And see, I heard that we could actually park underground, but the underground parking is of course for authorized vehicles only. So pretty much the celebrities and all the higher ups. So yeah, that and driving close to and cars parked just in the street. You got to drive around them. That's a weird concept. So yeah, not really too big of a culture shock. I think I might want to drive a little bit just to see how it is, left side of the road stuff. But other than that, I mean, the British people have been very polite, very kind, very nice. I met, shout out to, if he ever watches this, shout out to Caleb. I met him. He sat right in front of us. Typically at Star Wars Celebration, the DJ will say, turn to your left, turn to your right. If you don't know those people, introduce yourself. And that's when conversations and possibly lifelong friendships start. And I was sitting in between Colin and Josh at that point. And then when I moved over, I think that's when he turned around and introduced himself. And we're like, hey, we're Star Wars Stuff Podcast. You want some swag? Since he did the work and he turned around and talked to us. And we talked a little bit. And the one thing I wanted to see was if you go to Apple Podcasts and look up Star Wars, in London, can you see our podcast on the main page? That's the thing I haven't seen on anyone's phone yet. And reception was horrible, so I didn't get to see it. So that's the thing we kind of wonder. I kind of wonder. If I was there, I'd feel like I'm here. Yes, Maka, you are absolutely 100% correct. When you drive through neighborhoods, they look like those Harry Potter houses on like Privet Drive. Exactly like that, man. Exactly like that. Same thing with like the secret house in Order of the Phoenix. There's houses that look exactly like that, man. Exactly like that. It's so weird. Like I say, it's like you're going into a movie. It's so interesting. And of course, like I was saying before, all the Brits have been super, super nice. Super nice. Every time I ask them, I had to ask for help or directions. Always helping, man. That's something that's pretty awesome that I found. Super polite, super helpful, kind. Yeah, Liam says parking is impossible. The underground is the best thing to use, David. Well, we have a Tesla that we're renting, so we want to utilize that as much as possible, and we want to go above ground to see a lot of stuff. And I think we might do some Canary Wharf stuff eventually. We passed by it today. We discovered it. And that's in a very, very interesting part, a very modern part of London, the skyscrapers. And my buddy Carl had the comment, man, this feels a lot like Gotham City because the skyscrapers essentially block out the sun when you're walking through. So when it's a sunny day, it's still a little dark and pretty cool. If you saw Star Trek Into Darkness, you see the skyline, and that's where the opening sequence, I believe, where the guy was in the city, and it's London in 3025 or whatever. But it looks like that from the movies. That's the one thing that's really kind of taken me, really given me pause, that it feels like London is what you've seen of it in pop culture. It's like you're thrust into some type of London production, which I can't say for like cities like Atlanta and LA. They felt different when I was there, but London feels like London. Like it feels like Harry Potter. It feels like the movie Snatch, all the Guy Ritchie stuff. I mean, we've been in those locales. We've been in like, super modern areas. So it's pretty interesting to come here. But like I said, the driving, man, I don't know if my buddy Carl wants us to say this, but we've wrecked a couple times in the car. We've hit stuff. So not with me driving, though. It was Carl. So I blame him. So yeah, we've hit some things, not people, but we've hit things. And we've ended up driving on like places we shouldn't drive into. I'll say that. So yeah. Chris Simpson, hey, what's up? Just missed you guys. Where were you at, Chris? You should have contacted us. I was looking for Colin's hat all day. Yeah, British flag. Liam says if you're into Harry Potter, go to King's Cross Station. They have 9 3/4. You can take some nice pics there. Yeah, I've seen that. This Facebook user says silly Americans. Yeah. Yeah, it's been pretty cool. The 9-hour flight to get here, I think on me especially, was just rough, sitting in coach in that little tiny chair where you're kind of just stuffed like a sardine, really, for me. I was just kind of getting up and doing the whole going to the restroom thing just to stretch my legs, not even use the restroom, because I guess I'm one of those people that just needs to move around. I sit down at an office for a living, but I move around a lot. I don't feel comfortable just stagnant and being in one position. And for 9 hours, I mean, it's kind of tough. So Chris says, my friend was dressed as George Lucas. If you saw him, I didn't see him. I saw some people that were dressed up. There was one person in particular was wearing a Jabba the Hutt blow up kind of costume, kind of like those T-Rex Halloween costumes with like the window in the chest, but Jabba the Hutt instead. And they had to walk in like tiny steps, and everyone was just like looking and like giving them like approval and praise and motivation to keep going, because conventions are tiring, super tiring. Someone named Pedro Lozano says Carmen and I are driving around listening to you. Awesome. Thank you very much, Pedro Lozano. Yeah, in case you didn't know, that's my brother. Yeah, and hopefully I'm staying at his house when a celebration happens in 2025 in Dallas. So hopefully that's a thing. Chris Simpson says, only one I saw all day. Yeah, in the beginning, there wasn't a lot of cosplay, but once Celebration got ramped up, you saw a couple of Bo-Katans, you saw several Rays, some Mandalorians, some Din Djarins in the full Beskar suit. What else did we see? Some people were just Jedi. They had the Jedi robes. One guy looked like Qui-Gon Jinn, like a young Qui-Gon. I took a picture of him. It's on the Facebook group. You can see his face. Didn't get to talk to him, but there was a girl there's a little girl dressed up as Vivian Lyra Blair's Leia, like to a T. It could have been like her stunt double or something, but of course, kids don't have stunt doubles. So, but yeah, if you're thinking about coming to London, I as an American, especially, I would say it's something you could feel comfortable doing. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how we kind of would be received, but everything's been really cool. Everyone's nice. Like I said before, all the questions I asked, they turn around and, I mean, they're just answering. And I really do love the British accent. I'm not a huge fan of British shows like Doctor Who and Downton Abbey or anything like that, but I do kind of like the culture. And everything that I've experienced has been really good. So that's all the questions. So it is 11:58 p.m. So it's almost midnight. I'm actually going to go down to. I'm not a big alcohol drinker. I've never really drank alcohol very much, but I think I'm going to try my first Guinness. I'm going to do it in London. I'm doing a lot of stuff like low key for the first time in London, and I'm glad it's happening in London. So I'm going to do that. Carl is down in the lobby in the bar area. What is up, Kevin? I'm back at your not one of your original celebrations, but I know you had a very memorable celebration in London, and yeah, it wasn't the convention hall wasn't what I expected. When you see pictures of people in front of the Excel Center, the classic picture that I took and put on our Facebook group, it hits different in person. It's a lot bigger. It seems a lot smaller in pictures, but the inside was surprising because it seems like just a very long corridor, and I think maybe the smallest celebration venue out of the 5 that I've attended. Pete's asking, did I eat fish and chips? That was my first meal, and it was pretty good. So only Pete's gonna know this reference, but remember Hot Shots in McQueenie? So Hot Shots, I think, was better. Is the best fish and chips, and of course we lost it in a flood that we had in our hometown. But I had cod and I had American French fries, and they call it chips here in London. And I still think my hometown, my old school hometown eatery of Hot Shots, beat it out still. So yeah, Kevin says no sleep for the nerds. So I was actually yesterday, I'll talk about this, I was on zero sleep. I didn't sleep at all. I didn't sleep on the plane. But of course I'm in London for the first time. Just seeing everything gave me so much adrenaline. I have a little bit of that now. And I was on zero sleep. I'm not a person that does that. I always have to get some sleep. A few times in my childhood, I did no sleep, but of course I slept for like 15 hours the next day, doing sleepovers and such. So yeah, Liam's commenting, Guinness, ha ha ha. You have a British passport soon. Yeah, the whole passport thing was interesting too. It was the first time I used one, and you scan it to get on the plane, and then you scan it again to get off the plane. And I'm trying to remember the whole customs thing. I really wanted the London stamp in my passport. And one of the guys I asked, he turned around and he said in a British accent, "We don't stamp Americans." And I'm like, what? And I had to go back and I asked someone else, and they're like, yeah, they do it digitally now. So the stamp is like not something that's required. It's a nice little thing to have in your passport, but yeah, it's all digital now. So I have no proof of my passport that I went to London. So I guess you got to look it up on a record. So Kevin Reitzel says, yeah, dude. He says, Kevin Reitzel says, have you taken the tube? No, I haven't. We actually have a Tesla that we rented, and we're using that to drive everywhere. And it's a little frightening. So, and I talked about that earlier in the podcast too. We wrecked several times. I think we wrecked like 3 times, like small little wrecks, not like big wrecks, and we didn't hit people. So there's a lot of pedestrians walking around. Maka says, from what I heard, it's a lot stricter going back into the States and leaving. Yeah, that's what I've heard too. But I don't think it's going to be that tough. So I'll also tell you, it kind of made my blood run out of my body when I learned this. Getting on the plane, you got to show your passport. I went to the kiosk in Austin, and the kiosk didn't work. So it said more information is required. So I had to go to the attendant, and like nothing, they took my passport, they scanned it, they weighed my suitcase, the big, like the luggage, not the carry-on, but my big like 50-pound suitcase. They took that, and they show you a picture and they say, do you have any of this in there? If you don't, we're good. And I looked at it and it was like weird, like random stuff. And I was like, nah, I don't have any of this stuff. So my buddy Carl, he came in a little later, and the guy was a little bit more thorough, and he's like, you don't have batteries in your suitcase, do you? And he said, no. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I had this in my suitcase with batteries in it. And that like made my blood run out of my body, because I was like, oh my God, am I going to bring the plane down? Because batteries can catch fire. I think that's the whole thing. I've never seen it. It's almost like an urban legend to me, but it is possible. So I think I kind of broke the rule there. But before I leave, though, I'm going to throw away all my batteries or just take my carry-on. So yeah, that's kind of a funny thing. So Maka says, you'll be fine as long as you're not running spies. Yeah, I'm not going to run anything like spice coming back. I'm just going to take with me all the experiences and the memories from being in London right now. And the other thing about the British is that they really like the heat inside of buildings. Like, I'm not going to wear a jacket anymore. It's like 50 degrees outside. It's cold. But when you go to a building, inside a building, it's hot. It's like I'm back in Texas. It's weird. I don't get that. Is that like a British thing, or what is that? That's the other big takeaway. So, does anyone know about that? It's like I'm back in Texas, literally, and it's like humid too. I don't know. That's a weird thing. So every chance I get, I run outside because it's like hot in these buildings. It's weird. It's a weird thing. Yeah, Liam says, yeah, we like our buildings hot as it's cold. Yeah. So another fun fact about the heat inside of buildings, I had to sleep with the window open because it was so hot in my hotel room. I got it open right now. People are probably hearing me across the way podcast. But yeah, man, it's hot in here. It's weird. I don't know if everyone knows about this, but being Mexican American, you sleep with the fan on. There's no fan in here, so it feels weird. I'm kind of out of my comfort zone. I think that's a staple of my culture, sleeping with the fan on, and there's no fan. But yeah, it's cool outside. I don't need to wear a jacket because every building I walk into is like almost like a sauna. But yeah, those are all the questions. I'm going to go down and meet up with Carl, have a Guinness, and check back with us tomorrow. Hopefully we get into the Ahsoka panel, hopefully the celebration stage. We see Rosario Dawson live and in person, but we will see for sure in person Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, and Andy Serkis. I've waited 20 plus years to meet Andy Serkis in person. Of course, I love The Lord of the Rings. He played Gollum. He's played Snoke. He's played Ulysses S. Claw. And I love the dude. And yeah, for sure, Muck, I'll check out your posts that you put in there. So yeah, with that, thank you everyone that commented. And I saw your post there, Ted. You want me to do a British accent? I think I saw it in here somewhere. I'm not going to do it, mate. So with that, may the force be with you always.